Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome back to Due Process to Novo, where today we are doing a roundup of the past 2 weeks where we have had 4 minor content updates. Let's get into it. Starting with update 642. So new levels were added into rotation, and they fixed a couple of blacklisted levels from last week and re-added them, simple stuff for that week. Fixed for initialization error that would cause the 6v3 bug. Now, I've had a few different instances of having a 6v5 and other things like that, and that's been really weird, but thankfully it got fixed. Let's see, the next one is factory interior raised windows reverted to old behavior where shooting them does not allow the UAV to see through them. Grenades will still pass through them as before. Let me tell you, getting shot by a UAV through those tall windows is annoying, and I'm glad that's fixed. Alright, and the last one is moved castle drawbridge and gate kill volume from being in a position where players can't run into it when passing underneath. That's just a nice fix for player movement. Now after this update, it seemed like we got a few more bugs, sadly. We did have an issue where maps like C-Store or Kill House were being spawned inside of Dome. They basically had the setting and background of Dome, and it was kind of strange. So I think during update 643, which we're getting into now, is when they fixed that. Update 643 also had a lot of changes to the planning. They have a planning overhaul section, so we'll start with that. Added new sound to play if player attempts to claim an icon puck beyond the claim limits to help give feedback. Display player name card for defenders if they have spawned into the level during setup. Display puck name cards for defenders only if they are still in the planning room during setup. Disabled map view toggling during the end of the match screen, which could cause unexpected behavior. Fixed map, GUI, inventory UI, health tracker, HUD compass, or icon off-screen indicators showing during end of match screen. Disabled creating icon puck creation during end of match screen, and fixed miscellaneous errors pertaining to planning overhaul changes. So overall, we just have better feedback and, safety precautions to not cause any more errors at like pre or post match with adding icons. And then they have a list of other changes here, which we'll start now. New SFX for dome castle door open and close that should be easier to identify at a distance. Display bomb defusal progress via the LED panels attached to the bomb. Green is equal proportion of defusal, which has been kind of nice. At first I thought it was just on the front panel, but you can actually see it on each side of the bomb so that you can kind of tell how much is left in the defusal process, which is pretty nice. I think it's a pretty good addition. Added the due process logo to the loading screen and scene transition screens. I think this is good. It just kind of makes it look a little bit better. Makes the game look a little bit more polished and together. Improving player reporting, other players for abusive behavior, data on the back end, awesome. Some miscellaneous spectator improvements, which is always nice. An updated client server should alleviate problem with maps sometimes not loading, which we've all had missing textures before, and that's never any fun. Moving right along, the boys at GEC have been working hard, so we need to keep pushing through all these updates. On May 3rd, we had update 645, which had matchmaking and gameplay changes. So starting with matchmaking changes. We have re-enabled auto re-queuing players into matchmaking after a match ends with some changes, but only for casual queues. Starting the matchmaking process now has a short delay built into it. This allows players in the squad to cancel and allow the matchmaking process to look for other players. The delay also protects against players immediately re-entering queues before data about their squad loads regardless of whether a teammate or the server queues them into matchmaking. Players will also not have their squads merge after a match ends, even if the player concurrency is low at the time, to try to allow teams to create more balanced matches instead of putting the same teams against each other all the time. Now, these are some really good changes. I like the fact that it's going to give us a little bit more time, because there have been times where I've just been a part of a group and they've re-queued and I needed to head out, and so I had to quit, even though I didn't have the time before the re-queuing already started. My computer loaded slower than everyone else. But also I do like the idea that you're not going to get forced into a team. I did like the idea at first because you were making more acquaintances and you got to play with people quicker if you wanted to do that. But I think mixing up the teams and stuff is always a good idea, especially if you're just playing casual. So if you want to team up, that just kind of puts it more on you. You got to make some more friends, make some Steam friends, and then party up again. So I think that works out overall. Let's move on to gameplay changes. Fixed one of the issues with hit registration where some shots were being erroneously rewound and the player at the wrong time, causing a bad hit calculation. Anything fixing hit reg is welcome changes here. Fix an issue where selecting a dead player to spectate when none were alive could return you to the wrong view. We have had a lot of mixed up camera angles since first-person spectating has been added, so I'm glad they're working on fixing some of that. Revived the map legend for dead players looking at the map view. Dome bomb detonation sound should now play its unique audio clip correctly instead of a standard detonation sound, and blowing up the entire crowd. Fix an issue where sometimes the bomb defuse sound would play at the wrong pitch and therefore speed. Just really high pitched and fast, I guess. Road flare bouncing SFX returns. Road flare now does not play ignition sound if thrown while already lit. So some nice little attentions to detail there on the throwing of flares, which is pretty good. Last but not least, we have update 647, which came out May 10th, the day of yesterday. Starting with the general updates, speaker icon under your own profile picture in multiplayer menu now mutes yourself instead of having no function. Pretty nice. It's always good to have those kind of options. Client max frame rate raised to 150 to allow for overhead to VSync to 144 on high performance machines, which no one's ever gonna complain about the frame rate going up. As long as that works, I mean, that's a good change. Audio changes. New smoke grenade detonate SFX. I've tested this out. This actually sounds pretty good, and it's good to kind of know if you're not in visual radius of it, you can at least hear that smokes are being thrown, that help you prepare for that sort of push. Updated disattenuation curve on smoke grenade detonation SFX. Added 3 new, slightly different Molotov impact SFX. Adjusted distance attenuation curve for Molotov impact. Removed errant bounce SFX from Molotovs. Throwing already lit flares and now plays a weak sound for feedback instead of no sound. So obviously the sound effects being updated. Always good, helps you know what's happening and there's less silly thuds from Molotovs and things like that. All right, and then level updates. Added dome doors and castle gate to training. Perfect, it's always helpful to know what you're gonna be getting into, especially for new players. Change behavior of ramps on dome to allow UAV turrets to see through the base of the ramps and into the underside of the dome better, so we'd have less problems with runouts and defenders staying alive. Always welcome. And fixed a mesh on Pipeworks mixer. Awesome, awesome. Always good to see this, just the small things just get fixed up. So there's been a lot of updates. I think a lot of these things are good. Some of these are just kind of small quality of life things. Some of them are small little functions that we would have liked to have had before. I like the changes to matchmaking and just creating more matches and trying to get us in and playing more often. I think the updates to sound is always good because it helps us understand what's going on in the game. And I feel like Gek has been doing a pretty good job of upgrading optimization while at the same time getting rid of just bugs that are just breaking the game and making it weird. You don't want to be on a 6-man team facing 3 people because that's just no fun for the other side or you if you're on the 3-man team. A+ Gek, you're still doing great. I'm proud of you guys. I love this. I think these consistent small updates are amazing, and I'm so glad that these are able to be worked on while larger updates are also still being worked on. What is everyone looking forward to in the way of bug fixes or new features or content? Let me know down in the comments. This has been Rez with Due Process de Novo, and I will see you out there. Let's go disarm a bomb.
Yeah!